Hi everyone, we are here for the Deep News Target. This is going to be one of two Deep News Targets that we're doing. Now, when I'm recording this, you're going to see Arkie talk about the target, but he doesn't know what the target is. Now, I'm going to tell you what the target is so that you can then follow along and see him trying to struggle to explain what this target is. So this target that he's going to be doing, and he did it totally blind, is Hunter Biden during the moment described here. Hunter Biden, when he was the most active in communicating with business associates in a manner that has subsequently been claimed by others to be influence peddling during the years from January 2009 through January 2017. That, of course, is when Joe Biden was vice president, and there's now all types of stuff going on in Congress. The Republican House is talking about impeachment inquiries, whether that influence peddling actually went on. So there's a lot of talk and it's a lot of news stuff about it. So what we did is we had Rock do this, and Rock, and not just Rock, but some other remote viewers as well, go into the mind of Hunter Biden and also the mind of Joe Biden. So subject A is Hunter Biden. Subject A is Hunter Biden. Now, Rock didn't know that subject A was anything other than subject A. He didn't know anything about Hunter Biden, and he didn't know that subject B was Joe Biden. So he's going to go into the mind of Hunter Biden and sort of figure out what Hunter Biden is thinking about with regard to concerns that he figures out. So he figures out that, and then we go into the mind, or he goes into the mind of Joe Biden to find out what Joe Biden is feeling with respect to subject A. So again, Rock does this totally blind, so he does not know that subject A is Hunter Biden, and he does not know that subject B is Joe Biden, but you do. So hang on to your seats. Let's watch what Arkie found, and then later on, during the month, we're also going to be showing what other people have found as well. So you get to compare notes and so on like this. This is the Deep News. Here we go. All right, everyone. This is Deep News. And this target is a really interesting one. And Arkie is the remote viewer. And he does not know the target. And we're going to have him describe his data. And then we're going to tell him what the target is and get his response. We'll learn a bit more about what's deep in the news. Okay, so Rock, why don't we start with your Playfair and just briefly go over some of the images that you got.
Yeah, we can zoom through some of the sites on the initial contact. The first tile is it's like a large gathering area, a large table with notables sitting around this table, looking at what appeared to be a map or a picture of the entire planet.
Okay.
And from there, I picked up some kind of document, and I said a declaration or proclamation, something that's pretty heavy weight. I know that sounds a little bit obscure, but I had a sense that the people meeting above were deciding something, proclaiming something. And then the next tile I got was the Eiffel Tower. I got a distinct flavor of France and looking at the Eiffel Tower with nothing negative, nothing positive, just that glimpse of a picture. And the next tile was a very large meeting area inside a large structure with seats in the background, seats in the foreground, people up, moving about and having focused discussions. The next tile I had was some kind of carrying case. That was it. It was like a suitcase or a luggage bag of some sort. And then the last one was what I perceived a very large aircraft taking off with what appeared to be other aircraft circling while this craft took off. And that was my Playfair.
All right, great.
First
Now
impression.
then you started getting into deep mind probes, going into the main target subject. So let's go to your next page, and let's start looking at some of the things. So your initial impression when you went into the head of the target subject, which we call subject A.
As I was probing subject A, I picked up sharp features, facial hair, stubble, a more distinctive nose, lanky. The hair seemed to be dark, and I picked up a pattern in the jacket or shirt. And this is outside of the deep mind probe. This is just looking at the target subject for a visual. I smelled smoke, wood, smoky wood type, or a smell of rich, newly processed furniture.
Okay, so what about the deep mind probe part?
So as I went into the deep mind probe, I picked up sensation of being troubled, a deep, pensive, of being scared or frightened. And there were several concerns. And one was money, and I picked up the sense of a shift or change. And then I picked up words just came to my mind, like crooked, crime, shield, hide, difficult, thinking of a plan. And a female came into mind. And I think the female aspect wasn't the subject, but was something on the subject's, in the subject's mind. He seemed concise, cool, analytic, intelligent, and driven to resolve what he was working on, as well as wanting to ensure some level of alignment.
And what was his thoughts about money again? Because you have it written here.
Right, I wrote change, something shifting with money, and that it was crooked, or there was something not correct associated with that. And then I also picked up crime, shield, hide, and some kind of compliance.
Yeah, you have something.
Or complex, excuse me.
You have something, thinking of a plan you wrote?
Thinking of a plan, a complex plan. That's exactly right.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next page, because you had something you called concern number 2. So let me see. The deep mind probe started out. The deep mind probe started out with the thing about with the concern number 1. You said was money. So what was concern number 2? What did you pick up there?
Concern number 2 was people, power, organization, speed, and I have a bridge. I wrote bridge, and I don't know the context of that bridge, but I picked up turbulence.
Okay, but
after.
You're probably not talking about a physical bridge, so you're talking about the sense of connecting people. Is that right?
Certainly possible. I really am a loss for being able to connect that.
Well,
but I did connect bridge and turbulence.
I was trying to get at what you were thinking when you wrote the word bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea?
I wasn't thinking.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking. I was just replaying what was in my mind.
Okay.
So I wasn't consciously thinking of it.
All right, then, what did you next pick up about something about the concern number 1?
Wealth and safety, and then I had a bullet item: partnership, collaboration, gains, trust, benefit, and then this word source. So possibly the source of this partnership.
That was sort of a response to the idea of, you have written here, what subject A has to offer in exchange for concern number 1. I guess concern number 1, you wrote money, so this is what he's offering in exchange. So
partnership, collaboration, gains, trust, benefit, and source. And I don't, like some of the other words, I don't understand where the source,
Yeah.
what significance or meaning
Yeah.
the source has.
Yeah, because you're blind to everything. And you also said he's offering wealth and safety, or he's in exchange for. So that is now the wealth and safety. Was that part of what he was offering, or what he was getting?
What he's getting.
Oh, what he's getting. So he's getting wealth and safety in exchange for partnership, collaboration, gains, trust, benefit, and source. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so let's go over to the next page. What do we have here for the next page here? You have a, this is something dealing with subject B. So you're probing in the deep mind probe of A. Is he trying to influence subject B? And you don't know.
And the answer was yes.
So he is trying to influence subject B. And what else did you get? What else do you have on that page?
A sense that subject B has no choice in the matter because A has leverage.
He has some
Subject
leverage.
Subject A has knowledge of B's weakness.
Ha,
Subject B
interesting.
knows this and cannot resolve. He's in a no-win situation.
Oh, interesting. So subject B is sort of between a rock and a hard place.
No pun intended, right?
All right, now you went into the mind of subject B, and on the next page, what did you get there?
That was interesting. Fear, apprehension, hope, determination, and resolve.
Okay.
And so possibly fear of the consequences of what he's involved in and apprehension, but hope, determination, and resolve to see it through.
Okay. All right, and you actually had a sketch of the location of subject B in a structure of some type. But also you had the location of subject B in an aircraft.
Subject A in an aircraft. Or subject B in an aircraft, right? So this could have been, you're right. So location of subject B, that could have been, it looks interesting, could be an airport terminal, could be some type of, I mean, there were interesting shaped buildings.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And I just had a prelim sketch.
yeah.
And then I go back to location of subject B is in an aircraft.
Okay, let's just take it as face value. Now we have your last page, which is really interesting. Why don't you go through everything in that last page?
So the question is, subject B aware of the communications with others regarding concern one being done by subject A? So is subject B aware of communication with others regarding concern one
Okay, so
being done by subject A?
this is whether subject B is aware of what subject A is doing
Correct.
and having those
And
communications.
the answer is yes.
So he did. Okay. And then the next thing you asked was what?
Does subject B do anything in his job to address the content of the communications being done by subject A?
Okay, so he's aware of what subject A is doing. The question is, does he do anything in his job because of those communications to address the content of those communications? And what did you get here?
Correct.
You got some detailed stuff here. What did you get?
And I'm trying to recall exactly where I was at when I detailed this, but I have a sense of mental distance between B and A.
Okay.
So they're vastly apart.
Okay.
Does not understand how to intervene in the process. It's not clear yet. There's a misunderstanding of key issues,
Okay.
and he does not understand the complexity of what subject A is trying to do,
Okay.
and is very frustrated.
So he's frustrated. He doesn't understand what A's trying to do.
Correct.
And there's also that sense of a mental distance. Okay.
Absolutely.
So this doesn't say whether he did anything in his job to address the stuff that subject A is doing, but it is saying that he doesn't understand the complexity of what subject A is doing or trying to do, and there's some misunderstanding of some of the key issues here. And he doesn't know how to resolve the process. So he knows something's wrong, but he doesn't know how to fix it.
Can't get a handle on it yet.
He can't get a handle on it. All right, are you ready for the target reveal? Are you ready to hear what the target was or is?
Yeah, it'll be interesting, that's for sure. This was something else.
Yeah, because you did this totally blind. Okay, so the target here is the Hunter Biden influence peddling claims that are being talked about. I mean, there's even a talk in the Congress and in the House of Representatives about impeachment inquiries regarding this type of stuff. And the basic focus is Hunter Biden, when he was the most active in communicating with business associates in a manner that has subsequently been claimed by others to be influence peddling during the years from January 2009 through January 2017. So that's the exact target. Hunter Biden, when he was the most active in communicating with business associates in a manner that has subsequently been claimed by others to be influence peddling during the years from 2009 to 2017. And that was when Joe Biden was vice president under the Obama administration. Subject A is Hunter Biden. Subject B is Joe Biden. So you really focus on Hunter Biden. And so we didn't resolve the question of whether Joe Biden did anything, but he was certainly aware that something was screwy. And so
that's wild. I mean, to sit here after doing that in the blind and to see something that, in my own mind, maybe some of the pieces of the puzzle of the verbiage could fit fairly accurately. That's very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you've got your concern number one, that Hunter Biden's main concern was money. And we're talking about what apparently now is not in dispute, millions of dollars having been exchanged in what the people who were giving him those millions of dollars were thinking they were buying influence peddling. If this was the mafia, Hunter Biden wouldn't even be alive now, because the mafia boss would have said, hey, we gave you money, we were supposed to get something for it, and we didn't get it, and that's, he'd end up with his feet in the cement bucket on the bottom of the ocean or something. The mafia would have done something.
Wow.
But, he's a son of the vice president at the time, so he had Secret Service protection, I guess. Anyway, so he was taking pretty big risks no matter what happened. So, okay, then so concern one was the money. You picked that right up, really clear. And you picked up also, he was definitely trying to influence somebody, subject A. We have not resolved whether he did influence something, whether he did influence subject B, but he was definitely trying in order to get that money. And and subject B was very disturbed by it. And it's interesting you picked up the idea of a mental distance between subject A and subject B. Joe Biden really sort of didn't quite understand his son. There was a disconnect there. And he didn't understand the whole thing. It was sort of, I'm looking at your session and I'm sort of saying, wow, talk about the absolute talk about the absolute opposite of a helicopter parent. Joe Biden really didn't understand. He knew his son was doing things he shouldn't do, but he didn't understand it. He didn't understand it. From what your session is, he didn't understand it. He didn't have a clear understanding of the key issues, and he was quite frustrated. So it doesn't say that he actually did anything wrong or illegal, but he certainly did not understand his son. Makes me hope that he understands other people he's working with better than he understood his own son.
Right.
what good is a president if the president can't understand the people that are around him? But anyway, we'll see. Anyway, I thought you.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting target. I'm not displeased with the results at all. I remember after our first session, you know, I was like, I have no idea what I just put on paper here.
Yeah, you were very doubtful,
You know.
and I was so happy that you were doubtful. If you ever have a remote viewing session where you're absolutely certain you got it right and everything's good, the data are probably crap, because that's the conscious mind making that decision. But whenever you're really doubtful, saying, "Gosh, I don't know what this is about. I'm probably really this is terrible," then I'm saying that's going to be great, because the conscious mind never rejects what it creates, but it does doubt anything it doesn't create. So your remote viewing stuff was good. Anyway, Rock, you found out a lot of good stuff. You know, it doesn't resolve the question of whether Joe Biden did anything illegal or bad, and you know, I'm not. So it doesn't say anything about that, but it does ask. He doesn't understand his son, and his son was around him all the time, and in my mind, it really, based on your session, I'm saying, is that good for a person who was then the vice president of the United States and now currently the president, not to understand the people that are around him, including someone who's close to him, his own son? So that means, in my mind, that's saying other people could possibly take advantage of him, get him to do things as president, like corporate execs, people that want not influence peddling, but people who want to get something from him. He might be able. You want to be able to see through these people and to know what
Right.
they're after, and whether that's good for the country and for the American people. And boy, this session that you have doesn't seem to suggest that Joe Biden was at the top of his game on that kind of stuff, at least with regard to his son. But I don't know. So we definitely do not say anything about whether he did anything bad or good. But you raised a lot of questions about how much he understood. And that's perhaps more troubling than anything else.
Right.
Anyway,
But there was a big gap.
that was a great session, Rock. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity.